How about a big hand for the SAT and our kitchen staff? All right. I'm going to invite Barbara Bundy actually to come up for a moment. Barbara is on the board at Imago Dei, and I'd like her to come and introduce our guests.
It's a pleasure to welcome you back tonight, Cameeron Taylor, the head of Imago Dei School. And I know that many of you have visited the school now already and heard the story both here and at the school. And it's an exciting, dynamic story, especially the way Cameeron tells it. And we're so fortunate that he is the one at the helm. And so he's with us tonight, along with Holly Hancock von Guilleaume, from the Santa Theresa Tile Works. Santa Theresa Tile Works is a partnership endeavor with Imago Dei, and Cameeron and Holly are going to be explaining the partnership and sharing with you some of the beautiful works from the Tile Works. I know those of you who have visited this school, many people comment as we go through the school about the beautiful frames and around the pictures throughout the school. And then you'll begin to notice them as you go to the botanical garden, or if you look around downtown. All of a sudden, it's like, you've seen that before, right? And so there's an interesting partnership going on with the Tile Works. And so tonight we're going to extend our knowledge a little bit of the Imago Dei experience by looking at what goes on at the Tile Works. So please welcome Cameeron and Holly with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Whoa, that was so loud. I'm sorry. Thank you all very much for having me. And Holly is definitely going to join in on this, but I thought I'd give a little bit of the history and explain a little bit about the partnership between Santa Theresa Tile Works and Imago Dei first. First of all, I spend all day speaking in front of groups, but I don't often do it with a glass of wine in my hand, so you guys, this is a win already. Very happy to be here, thank you. But so many of you have been to the school, many of you have supported the school for many years, and we're grateful for that. And it's exciting to be here tonight to talk about something a little bit different. I'm sure many of you are also familiar with Santa Theresa Tile Works, but please forgive me, I'll kind of start from the beginning, and hopefully you'll learn something new if you already know about it. Santa Theresa Tile Works was a for-profit business founded in 1995 by a woman named Susan Gamble. And it's a mosaic tile business. And as Barbara mentioned, once you've kind of seen some of the work, when you drive around, especially in Tucson, but even here on this campus, there's some pieces, but you see it all over the place. And for 30 years or so, Susan developed this really beautiful aesthetic that in many ways has kind of become the aesthetic of Tucson. You see it all over the place in neighborhood entrance signs. And, pretty much everybody I know has like their house numbers are made out of Santa Theresa Tile Works tile. And so it's all over the place and has become kind of ubiquitous and just all throughout Tucson. And about, let's see, it's been a while now, about maybe 8 years ago or so, Susan started to think about retiring. And she had been on the founding kind of, she was a part of the feasibility study for Imago Dei in like 2004. So she had been a friend to the school for many years, and our kids had taken, our students at Imago Dei had taken classes at Santa Theresa and worked with her, and she and I had known each other for years. And much like tonight, over a glass of wine one night, we hatched this crazy idea that she wanted to retire, but she didn't just want to close her business, and she didn't have anyone to give the business to, no children or anything. And so we just decided, why doesn't Imago Dei take it over and start using it as an aspect of our programming? And so what seemed like a really, it was a no-brainer, it was super easy, it'd be done by the weekend. Took years to, consummate the deal. And ultimately what ended up happening is that we reincorporated Santa Theresa Tile Works as a nonprofit organization. and it's under the umbrella of Imago Dei's nonprofit. So the school owns the Tile Works, but it's a separate nonprofit organization with a mission of providing arts education not only for our students, but for students of all ages, throughout Tucson and beyond. We have people who come from all over. And so in addition to still creating a lot of art all around town and doing big fun projects and doing some retail things, we have classes at the Tile Works with our students and with adult students and people from all over the place. And the goal, we were set back a little bit like all of us during the pandemic, but the goal ultimately is for us to turn Santa Theresa into a bigger part of our programming in the sense that we envision not just art classes taking place there, but small business education and marketing education and having an internship program and being able to support the community in many different ways and just being deeply involved in the community through art and through creating these beautiful works all over town. And so we're getting there. We're taking steps, and the addition of Holly to the team a little over a year ago was a huge step forward for us. And has allowed us to really start building that foundation to where we can do some more. So I'd love to invite Holly up just to talk a little bit about your experience with it, maybe, and what you love most about the Tile Works. And then we can talk about some of the art we brought with us and that kind of stuff.
I'll just say, I have not used a microphone much in my life. I don't mind talking in front of people, but if it's too loud or louder, closer? Okay. That feels really weird. Okay. So I'm Holly Hancock von Guilleaume, and it was interesting as Cameron, so I've been drinking from a fire hose for like the last 14 months. It is a lot to learn, and it's great and exciting, but the way it came about is a little bit like what happened with Cameron and Susan Gamble about this idea, because my background, I'm an educator. Who happened to build a business from the ground up, a very successful travel business that unfortunately didn't survive COVID, with a man that I was married to. So I'm really a teacher, and I keep going, but anyways, I was applying for a job at the school, and he found out I had owned a business and said, well, would you want to do this? And I was like, that's kind of my dream job. Like, I never dreamt of owning a business. But we created this business together, right? And when you do that, interestingly, like I have an undergrad in liberal arts in women's studies, art and anthropology, and a master's in exceptional ed. But when you're a business owner, you know all aspects of the business, right? You have to know all of it. And so coming into Santa Theresa, I'm really an educator, but I have this business experience. And Susan wasn't she was an artist, right? And so it's been an interesting experience this last year being there and helping, and I think it's a really important story to tell, right? That artists can have successful, sustainable businesses or nonprofits, right? And to kind of, begin to tell that story. So I have offered that as well as my background in education. So I really get excited about developing more programming at Santa Theresa with students, with volunteers of all ages. But I realized, and when I came on, I thought that's what I'd be doing. But coming out of COVID, everything changed, right? The whole rhythm of our world has changed. And it's really this last year been more about kind of getting us really, really organized so that we're solid in what we're doing and doing it really well. And then beginning to develop additional programming. So I think I'm like an interesting combination, right, of things to bring there, because I think you could bring in a business person, but they wouldn't have that other part of them, right? I'm just that other part with business experience, so it's a good fit.
Well, and Holly has been an excellent fit also, because again, just like, that first weekend where I said, we'll have this wrapped up quickly, I thought, within a year we'd have all of this small business programming and a bunch of interns and, all of our families working at the school or working at the Tile Works. And the reality is that, it's much harder to develop that. Especially, working under the aegis of a nonprofit and with all of the other things that we're doing at the school. And so I think the beautiful part of that, though, is that it's allowed us to be really intentional and thoughtful about how does Santa Theresa actually fit in with Imago Dei, and what does it mean to us? And so what I think we have learned is that what it means to us is it's a way for us to engage in the community and, the broader community. The communities that we serve, for our families as well, but just the broader community of Tucson. We have our students are now designing products and taking some of that knowledge and working it into the small business classes that we already have at the school. And we have alumni working at the shop, and we have parents coming and volunteering, and it's starting to come together where we're building a community of people who want to use Santa Theresa as a way to impact the community around them and bring people together. So we envision that next time we put one of, how neighborhoods have, like, on the four corners there will be a sign sometimes that says, like, the name of the neighborhood. Santa Theresa has done many of those in the past, and this is a small, easy example, but in the past that would have been done by the HOA or somebody coming to us and saying, hey, design this and install it, and we won't have anything to do with it. We have flipped that into a community event, like a barn raising, where we're getting everybody in the community to come in and help with that process, and bringing different, kind of constituencies, not just maybe from that neighborhood, but our students and other people into that process to start crafting the things that they want to see around their own neighborhoods or around Tucson, and just bringing people together is something we especially need to do right now. So it's starting to get there. We're hopeful to continue to build it into something very cool. It's very cool right now, but we're starting to see other classes come in, other schools come in. St. Michael's is over often, actually. Nancy Starr has brought several groups over, and we're seeing just a lot more kind of engagement in the community and through our classes. And so we invite any of you, just like we would invite any of you to come for a tour of the school. Please come see Santa Theresa. When we're done here, come up and look at some of the stuff, and you can play around with the tiles and get a sense of what it might look like to do something at the shop. But really, I think we're grateful to have Santa Theresa is a partnership between Santa Theresa and the school, but we're grateful to have partnerships like this, because what we really need is to get the word out, right? And to tell people, like, hey, this exists. Help us do something really cool. Churches have actually been a really great place for Santa Theresa, because we've done a lot of work at the various churches, making everything from just, kind of banal signage to much cooler kind of memorial type things or honorarium type things, and that's something that we would like to do more of. So it's important to have the connection to this kind of community as well. But mostly, I think we're just excited to see what happens. Again, I thought 8 years ago or whatever it was, I thought, it's be so quick, it's so easy, and 8 years later, it's actually been much more fulfilling. And has turned into something very different than I thought it would be, but it's become a really big integral part of what we do at Imago Dei, that you don't get to see maybe all aspects of it. As Barbara pointed out, you get to see some of the beautiful tile works of art that's around the school, but you don't get to see that interaction and engagement with the community. You don't get to see the kids over there making crazy things. And one of the first assignments you guys do with the younger kids when they start is they get to build their own monster out of clay, and then they fire it. And these monsters are wild, and I think about them often, actually. But it's another opportunity for our students that they just simply wouldn't get, otherwise. Many schools are, cutting funding for that kind of programming. I know John. Talked about his son's program, but arts programming is getting cut everywhere, and we're actually trying to build something bigger, weirder, and much more than art programming. And so it's just been really fun. Yeah.
We work a lot with other nonprofits too. You could say that. Oh. Well, we also are doing a lot of collaboration with other nonprofits, and that has been really rewarding. To help, we were involved. I can tell you a little story. So we were involved with Youth on Their Own, Youth on Their Own got the Angel Charity Grant and were able to buy a building and remodel the whole thing. And they asked a bunch of artists to come in. But for us, they had 3 panels. And did any of you participate in that or see when that mailing came out? It was really stunning. But anyways, we designed, our artist, Erin, who our artists have different stories, and I can tell you their story. But Erin is actually an artist. She's also a painter and does her own shows, and she's in galleries and stuff. She designed the center panel of this kind of cultural fairy with this cool kind of garland around her. But their idea at Youth on Their Own was to have the 2 other panels. Erin did drawings, and they did a capital campaign with those 2 other drawings. And again, here I am talking about money, which really doesn't matter to me, but I love the idea that we empowered Yodo to do this. So their goal was $200,000. We created tiles, they had all these events, and people got so excited about being part of these really stunning mosaics that were going to be put up. They raised $500,000, and they were able to pay off the mortgage on their building, or almost pay it off. And that's because people get excited about being involved in something that's beautiful and is going to have staying power and be part of this building. So I get excited about that, right? About being able to help other nonprofits. We're doing the same thing with Soul Dogs and kind of telling that story to help nonprofits. Encourage them. I get excited about that stuff.
You should. It's exciting.
It is exciting, and the angel's exciting too.
Yeah, that's very cool too. We do a lot of work with nonprofits, and so next time you're visiting any other kind of nonprofit or charitable organization that you may support or that you're visiting, take a look. That's like a 75% chance that Santa Theresa made their donor wall, or put some art in there, or has something on the building, and it is really quite fun. Actually, we have some really fun projects upcoming. They're not just all here in Tucson either. We have a project in Boston coming up, and something in Utah and Philadelphia, and so we're kind of working with agencies all over the country to do that same thing, to bring people together. Those projects are like parks and other things where we're just part of the public art process. So it's been really rewarding. Currently, our kids, our Imago Dei students, are just taking classes there and learning the process. We would love to be in a position to where they're a part of that process in those other places and crafting all of those things. And ultimately, I'd love it if Santa Theresa was just run by the community and we didn't have anything to do with it. It'd be great. So that's kind of the goal, and we're on that journey. So please come visit and check it out. I think Barbara has scheduled a tour. Anybody who wants to come by, we're offering a tour of the school and/or Santa Theresa on March 22nd. It's a Friday.
Sign up here.
So come by and check it out. And I think I'd rather just kind of take questions if anybody has any questions. Warren, is that okay? Barbara?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Nancy?
Would you ever consider doing a workshop here?
Absolutely. We've done a bunch of that kind of stuff, actually. We've, for instance, like the bench that we have up here is kind of a common one. We've done several of those with organizations around Tucson where it was easier for us to get there with kids and stuff or whatever, and do like intergenerational things and build a bench or build some kind of piece. But yeah, absolutely.
So I meant like small pieces for us.
Yeah, easily. That kind of stuff. So like something like this. Yeah, like this is super easy for us to bring down, or they're portable, we can take anywhere. And then the fun part is, and Holly has these cool frames up here with other tiles where you can kind of play around and make something and design your own thing. So you could do that in the shop as well. You could come in at any point, and there are all kinds of different frames and all kinds of different products, and we have a huge inventory of just different tiles that are animals and flowers and other items, and you can come in and play around and put it how you want. And then once you're ready, you say, okay, I'm done. We'll grout it and get it finished and get it to you later. It's totally fun. It's a fun holiday thing, fun thing to do with your family.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
You have the address on your leaflet over here. What are your hours?
That is a great question.
Tuesday to
And I am the wrong guy to ask.
Our hours are Tuesday to Saturday, 10 to 4. And we are available for groups at other times. Like if you call ahead of time, you could come in and you could book the group, the studio for your group to come in and do something. And we are available. A lot of people think you have to take a class to make a mosaic. You do not. You can take a class. We have themed classes, and you'll come in and you'll have an artist working with you, and it'll get set and grouted that day. But anytime we are open, you can come in and you can make a mosaic. They make really, oh my gosh, I have the cutest father and a 3-year-old come in and make a mosaic for the mom. And it was going to be a skeleton, and at the end it had like 2 pelvises and like 3 feet, you know, and all of this. And the dad very nicely asked Ruby, who's one of the Imago Dei graduates that works in the showroom, to just fix the skeleton a little bit before they grouted it. So, and that was going to be a gift. And really, there are sometimes people come in and they look at our large metal frames and they think, oh, that's out of my price range. But our wooden frames are a really nice price point for making. I had another mother and daughter come in over the holidays. They did 13 6x6 wooden frames and gave it to all of the nieces and nephews. And worked on it for like 3 days collaboratively. It was lovely. So.
Will you talk about intensive a little?
Sure. We also have classes where you can, a couple different classes where you can come in and learn how to make tile. We have something called intensive, which is a whole week long. It's actually happening right now. It's a whole week long, Monday through Saturday, where we teach people how to make. So the tiles are hand cut, hand glazed, and hand detailed. I tried to do it, and my flowers looked like wonky starfish. They were like it takes some practice. But these are people who really want to learn, and those. The people who are in Tucson, after you take intensive, will quite often join what we call our hive, which is our open studio. And Wednesday evenings and Saturdays, you can come back into our studio and continue to practice making tile with the artists there to help you. We also have abbreviated, which is 4 evenings. So the intensive is tricky because you have to have an entire week, right? And for people who are working, they can't usually do that. So we also have an abbreviated tile making. And then we have another class called 3D Flowers, where we teach you how to make flowers that in a certain Santa Theresa style. And then all the other classes are mosaic classes. Again, it'll be a theme. You can come. We just had 3 girlfriends came in, and it was a surprise birthday present for one of the friends. They came in and all made mosaics together. And with that, the workshop fee, we set and grouted, and you can take it home that day.
And I should mention, just in case it's not clear, that all of that kind of programming, where it's not necessarily about the education and the kids, that's just the point of that is just that all of the proceeds go directly back into the program or to the school. So ultimately, we'd love for Santa Teresa to also be a much larger revenue stream for the school to, support what we're doing at Imago Dei. But right now, it's supporting all of the programming and paying for the classes for the kids and some of the nonprofit work and that kind of stuff. So everything that's happening there is just going to support Imago Dei and its kind of programming in general. Yes. How many students are there at the school currently? We have 78. We max out at 80, but we have 78. And with some changes that we've made for our upcoming year, it looks like we're already enrolled at 86. So we added a 4th grade, half a 4th grade, just 10 kids to see, to kind of start the process of looking at what it might look like to expand the school. And it's been very successful this year, and so we're going to continue it. And so we're nearly fully enrolled already for next year. Yes?
Are you responsible for all the beautiful benches and salafita?
We're responsible for many of them, yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that's actually why I brought a bench tonight, because that's one that they're all over town and all over southern Arizona, and you may not recognize it, but now when you see it, you'll be like, oh, I think maybe they did some of these. But yeah, we did some of the ones, many of the ones in Sarita. Thank you. Well, any other questions? I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. It's just been a fun...
Just that you can come anytime.
Yeah. come visit and see the place. We love to show it off just like the school. And it's like the school. It's the kind of thing that unless you come and see it, it's a little hard to understand what's actually going on there. And I think many of you have had that experience with the school where maybe you thought, oh, this is a middle school or whatever. And then when you come, it's something very different. And it's a different experience. And so I'd encourage you to take a look at Santa Theresa as well, because we're trying to build something different there as well.
That you can sign up for our newsletter, and you can. We have a newsletter. We do it usually once a month. Sorry.
We're talking actually about doing it just a short one in the middle of the month. I know about, I'm unsubscribing to things all the time, right? Because there's too much. But it's really about classes. But we are talking about highlighting some of the things that we're doing in the community, so just so that we begin. Tucson's all about connections. Like, I'm a native Tucsonan, and I can't tell you how many people come in and we all know each other, right? Like, it's just kind of how it works here, even as it gets bigger, right? We just envelop you into our fold, and we all still know each other. So, if you're interested in learning about the classes, the newsletter is a great idea. Do you remember that Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Mm-hmm. I just sent a mosaic. The first mosaic I made, I managed to be there for over a year. I was so busy, I never took the time to stop and make a mosaic. And my daughter's studying in Spain, and I just made my first mosaics for her and friend, and I sent it to Spain, and it arrived. And we were laughing today that we should do a post on Facebook, where in the world is Santa Teresa mosaics? Like, right? Because they're probably all over. They're probably all over the world. We have people in all the time. I meet the neatest people and have these just amazing conversations about why they're in Tucson and how they found us, and it's really great. So that's great. And actually, if you do Facebook and Instagram, liking us and sharing this on Facebook and Instagram is really helpful. We don't have much of a marketing budget. We're in the Tucson Guide. I actually know the owner. She's a St. Michael's mom. She's the head of the SMA at Katie Bailey. She's really lovely, and I'm a St. Michael's mom as well. I have an 8th grader. We're leaving after 14 years. He's going to South Point next year, but that's a really nice, if you want to pick one up. It also talks about a lot of other there are really unique, wonderful things in Southern Arizona, right? Like, we're such a great place to visit and to live. But we're there, but really your word of mouth is incredibly helpful to us about what we're doing. And just, we had people stop by the other day. Sam Hughes neighborhood is turning 100. And they want us to do a custom design of framed mosaic to put on the homes that are 100 years old. Like, all the homes that reach 100, they'll do just fun things like that, right? Like, we're part of the Tucson story. So.
Where's the studio located?
It's on 6th Avenue and 6th Street, so it's just a couple blocks north of the school.
Okay.
The school's on 6th Avenue, and it's just north 2-3 blocks.
And there's parking on the south side of the building. It's a long,
there's parking there.
old warehouse. But if you come around to the south side, there's parking there for customers, and we like to leave that open for customers or visitors really.
So I would end by just saying, please come up and take a look at the art, and we can answer questions. And I was talking to Tom about this earlier. He asked if we had a lot of inventory of this kind of stuff, and the truth is no. This is just stuff that we had around because the point of the place is to be engaging and to be collaborative and to come in and to make something. So we don't actually just make a lot of stuff to then sell or put out somewhere. I mean, we make a lot of stuff for commissions for, parks and churches and things like that. But we don't make a lot of stuff just to sell. The point is for people to come in and collaborate on that with us. So this is kind of a sample or some examples of what is possible there, but there's much, much more that can be done. And we have information about Santa Teresa. We have information about the school, of course, and tax credit and other ways that you can support us, which you guys are so amazing with. But, it's tax season, so it'd be crazy if I didn't mention that. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. And then the last thing is, because actually St. Francis has been such an incredible partner to Imago Dei specifically, we brought this bench down really hoping that we wouldn't take it back. So Warren, if you can identify a place where maybe that bench would go, I'd really love to gift it to the community and leave it here.
Probably wants it at his house. By his pool, that's probably where it is.
Yeah.
By my pool, yeah. Cameron and Holly, thank you so much for being here. And please, before you leave, come and take a look at some of the great works here. And there are some takeaway. There's the magazine there. Sign up if you want to come to, sign up with Barbara if you want to go on a tour. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You gotta sign up for that. In school.
And come and take a look at the bench.
Yeah. Help me figure out where it goes.
Not next Friday.